Let's work on the grid view to display the menu items now. So first, let's scroll down, and after our row, we're going to add a sized box with a height of 10.0, and then we want to add the menu text. So all that is a center, child text, menu. And if we look at this now, we see the menu here. We'll add some text style, font size 22.0, font weight .w600, and then letter spacing 1.2. After our menu text, we're going to add another size box. And then here, we're going to add our grid view. And the way we're going to do that is by using GridView.count. And then we're going to define a cross-axis count, and it'll be 2, because inside our menu here, we have 2 different columns. Then we want to have children, and then instead of putting the widgets inside the widget list, we'll do something called list.generate, where we input the length, which is widget.restaurant.menu.length, because menu is the list of food items. And then generator, it'll give us an index, and then we can use that index to generate the different menu items. Now let's get the food item. Food equals widget.restaurant.menu and then index. And make sure to import food. And so we can see what this would look like. Let's return a center widget with the child text, and then we'll have food.name. Hit save. And if we look at our debug console right now, we see that we get an error saying that the render box was not laid out. And this is because we didn't specify a height for our grid view. But we know that we want the grid view to expand to the remaining size of the screen. So all we have to do is wrap our grid view with a new widget called expanded. And then hit save. And now we see that we have the items here: burrito, steak, pasta, ramen, pancakes, burger, pizza, and salmon salad. And then let's add some padding. Padding edge insets .all 10.0. Now let's close out our debug console, and we will replace our center widget with build menu item food. And then we're going to write this function up here. Build menu item, and it'll take in food menu item. And then let's return center child text menu item dot name to make sure it's working. And if we hot restart the app and click back into a restaurant, we see that our text is still there. So taking a look at our UI, we can see that we clearly have a stack here, and the first layer of the stack will be an image. After that, we'll have a gradient, and then text with the button on the bottom right. So let's get rid of the text right here and create a stack with children. Let's focus on making the image appear first, and that'll be in a container with a height of 175 and a width of 175. After that, we need the decoration, box decoration, image, decoration, image, asset, image, and then here we can pass in the menu item.image URL. And make sure to put your commas in so you can reformat it. And we hit save, and we see our images are now here. In order to make it expand to the full height and width of the container, we can just add fit boxfit.cover, just like we've been doing. And then we'll set the border radius to border radius.circular 15.0. And we now have our curved edges. The next part is to create a gradient that's a very light black color, and we're going to layer it on top of our container. And to do that, we just need to put it after our container here, so it's on top. And then we'll make container height will also be 175.0, and same with the width. Decoration, box decoration. Border radius dot circular 15.0. And then we're going to add the property called gradient. And this will be a linear gradient, which will begin from the top right. So we can do alignment dot top right. And then it will end in the bottom left. So alignment dot bottom left. And then once we save, we get an error saying that we didn't specify the colors. So we can do that by saying colors and then a list. And inside this list, we're going to have 4 different colors. The first one will be colors.black .with opacity 0.3. And then we'll copy this 3 more times. Next, it'll be colors.black 87. Then black 54. And then black 38. And then when we hit save, we see that we have the light gradient right here on top of our menu items. We can also add something called stops, and that's a list of doubles. Stops represents the positions of each color. So for the first color, we want it to start at 0.1. Then we want the next color to start at 0.5. After that, we can do 0.7 and 0.9. Hit save, and we can see that the gradient slightly changed its positioning. Let's make this one 4, and we'll make this 6. Now let's get the item name and the price to show in the center of the container. We're going to go after this container here, but still in the stack. And we're going to make a column widget, children, text, menu item.name, and the second text widget will be menu item.price. .toString, because it's a double and we need to convert it to a string. Let's hit save, and we see that the name and the price is on the top left up here. And I realize that we're missing the $sign for our menu item.price, so we can wrap it in single quotes and then do a backslash to escape the $sign. And we can use string interpolation here, so another $, curly brace, and then we don't need the toString. And we can just hit save, and now we have the $sign in front of our price. Let's style the text. Style text style, color, colors.white, font size will make the name 24.0, font weight will be bold, and then the letter spacing will be 1.2. And hit save on that. For the menu item.price, let's copy this one. And then we'll make the font size a little smaller, so 18.0. And hit save. And now we have the labels here, just like in the image. And now we need to position our column widget to the center of our grid view. So we can wrap our column widget in a new widget called positioned. And positioned allows us to access the top, left, right, and bottom. But in this case, all we need to do is access the bottom and say 65.0. So now our column is 65 pixels above the bottom of the container. And then to horizontally center our text, we can scroll back up to our stack and add alignment, alignment.center. And that centers our text there. For the button in the bottom right of our container, we're going to go underneath this position widget and we'll make positioned. And this time it'll be bottom 10.0 and the right will be 10.0. So by doing that, our button will show up 10.0 pixels from the bottom and 10.0 pixels from the right. So just around here. We'll add a child container. And we actually wrote this button before inside our recent orders.dart. So if we go back here and scroll up to where we created this container, we can actually just copy the button, including the container, and paste it in right here. And we see that the button appeared, but it's over 10 pixels from the right side. And that's because we need to get rid of the margin that we copied. And then having the width here is unnecessary. And now we completed our menu. And if we go to a different restaurant, for example, restaurant 3, we see that it has 2 stars and it has 5 items on the menu.